What if I told you a bird slams its head into wood 20 times a second and never gets a concussion? Meet nature's most extreme engineer, the woodpecker. It hammers wood up to 22 times per second, faster than a machine gun's recoil. Each strike hits with a force of 1,200 Gs, enough to shatter a human skull. So how does its brain survive this brutal pounding? The answer lies inside a skull built like a shock absorber. Its skull bones are spongy and thick, absorbing 99.7% of the impact energy. But that's just the beginning of nature's genius. Wrapped around its skull is a bone unlike any other, the hyoid. This bone acts as a built-in safety belt for its brain. Its brain is tightly packed inside the skull, no room to bounce. Unlike humans, whose brains slosh dangerously with every hit, its beak is another marvel, self-sharpening and shock-absorbing. The upper and lower beak are slightly uneven, deflecting stress away from the brain. But what about its eyes? At 22 impacts per second, they should pop out. A special third eyelid snaps shut a millisecond before every strike, holding the retina firmly in place and preventing blindness. At sunrise, the forest wakes slowly, wrapped in mist, gold light, and silence. High above the ground, in the branches of an ancient oak, a tiny architect is already preparing for another day. Every leaf, every droplet, every thread of moss seems still. But hidden inside this quiet morning is one of the most determined survival stories in the wild. This is the acorn woodpecker, small, alert, and impossible to ignore, with its bright red crown and sharp, intelligent eyes scanning everything around it. Its beak strikes the bark again and again with astonishing speed, chipping away at the oak with perfect precision, not out of anger, but purpose. Because this bird is not just feeding, it is working. Each acorn it carries is part of a carefully planned future, gathered one trip at a time. With practiced accuracy, the woodpecker stores its acorn inside the tree, turning the oak itself into a living pantry, one that may decide whether the family survives. But in the forest, no food store stays secret forever. By the fourth day, another watcher has arrived. A gray squirrel climbs the trunk, curious, clever, and hungry. The woodpecker sees the movement instantly. In one explosive moment, calm gives way to alarm as the two lock onto each other. Then comes the attack. Wings beat furiously, bark and feathers burst through shafts of light, and the tiny defender throws itself at a much larger intruder. Days later, deep inside the dark cavity of the oak, the reason for that fierce defense is revealed. 4 small eggs rest in silence, fragile and full of promise. Soon, one shell begins to crack. A tiny beak pushes through for the very first time, and a new life enters the world from within the safety of the tree. The mother looks down, still and focused. In that quiet moment, the forest story becomes something more than survival. It becomes protection, patience, and care. From inside the nest, the world above is only a bright circle of light. And through that opening, the parent returns again and again, carrying food into the shadows. The chicks stretch upward with open mouths, blind with hunger, reaching toward every sound, every movement, every sign that the next meal has arrived. Then the parent launches back into the open air, wings catching the sun, leaving the nest for yet another trip in a cycle that never seems to end. But the forest is always watching. On the 25th day, a new threat appears below, silent, patient, and deadly. A wildcat slips through the ferns. Its paws press into the moss without a sound. Every step is controlled. Every muscle is measured. This is not curiosity now. This is intent. Its amber eyes narrow and lift toward the nest above. The target is clear. The calculation is instant. The climb is coming. And then it explodes upward. Claws tear into bark. Dust and splinters fly. The trunk becomes a battlefield as the predator surges toward the hidden young. But the woodpecker does not retreat. In chaotic bursts of wings and movement, it meets the attack head-on, turning speed and courage into its only weapons. For one critical second, the wildcat loses its grip. Its balance fails. The climb collapses, and gravity does what the bird alone could never do. Defeated, the predator slips back into the undergrowth, glancing once behind before disappearing into the forest shadows. Yet danger in the wild does not arrive only in the form of teeth and claws. By the 30th day, the sky itself begins to change. Rain pounds the branches. Wind shakes the oak. Inside the nest, the mother lowers her body over the chicks, becoming shelter against the storm. Branches twist, leaves whip, and the forest roars under the force of the weather. Survival now depends on endurance, not escape. When the storm finally passes, mist rises from the soaked earth, and sunlight returns in cautious rays, touching the forest like a second dawn. The family is still there, wet, tired, but alive, Perched together in the renewed light, they carry the quiet proof that survival is often made of many small victories. A single droplet falls from a feather tip, catching the sun as it drops, a tiny moment of stillness after days of danger. By the 72nd day, a juvenile reaches the edge of the nest and hesitates. Below lies distance, risk, and the unknown. Then it jumps. For the first time, its wings open into empty air, and instinct takes over where certainty ends. The landing is awkward, messy, and real, but it works. The branch holds. The young bird has crossed the line between safety and independence. Soon, another shadow slices across the sky. A falcon, fast and precise, built for pursuit. The forest offers no guarantees, even now. The juvenile darts through branches and leaves, weaving desperately through a maze of wood and sunlight, chased by the oldest rule in nature: fly or be taken. And as the sun sinks over the ancient oaks, one small silhouette remains against the horizon, a survivor shaped by hunger, danger, storm,